Yes, hello my friends and happy Friday. Hopefully your week is coming to a beautiful close. Arizona is in the news again. The very politically fluid Kyrsten Sinema has changed teams. Yesterday she was a Democrat, today she's an independent, and the Democrats are pissed about this. They were already pretty upset with her because she was kind of a squishy Democrat. We call Republicans squishy, guys like Romney and McConnell and some of the others. But Sinema was one of them, right? The Democrats have him too. And she was always there with Joe Manchin, kind of on the border on some of these tight policy decisions. And they may have been responsible for some of the less enthusiastic Biden efforts failing, or the more enthusiastic Biden efforts failing. You get the point. But they've been a thorn in the Democrat side for some period of time. And she changed teams this morning, and the Arizona Democratic Party's already out there saying, oh my gosh, she was already beholden to corporations and billionaires, and now it's going to be even worse. So it's a lot of fun. You know, they just had a nice victory in the Senate. They got up to 51, and then Kyrsten just said, sorry guys, I'm out of here. And I think this is reflective of Arizona. You know, I've always been doubtful that Arizona is a blue state all of a sudden. It just kind of happened overnight. Very weird, you know, a couple elections, boom, suddenly everything's blue. Wonder how that happened. But it is, I think, a little bit of a stretch. I mean, I live here and I've been castigated for this opinion, but you know, you can feel the energy in different places that you go, right? Anytime you've traveled, you go to a blue place, you go, this is a blue place. Go to a red place, you go, this is a red place. You can just sort of feel it. I live here, and I'm fairly plugged into, you know, groups and networks around here, and I've spoken to other people who are also plugged in, and you know, I can see where the money and the ebbs and flows and where the energy is going. Where's all the talent of Arizona going? And it definitely was not in the Katie Hobbs camp, right? And it definitely was not in the Mark Kelly camp. So you start to, you know, wonder about some of the margins of victory and some of the victories, and we ask ourselves, is Arizona really blue? And I don't think so. So I think Kyrsten Sinema is making a change to reflect that. And she's also saving her butt a little bit, right? She doesn't want to get primaried by a hard lefty in the Democratic primaries and have to defend her left flank. So she just says, all right, well, I'm going to abandon the party then. You guys have gone bananas. And that will sort of, I think, play well in Arizona. You know, we had this whole John McCain era that a lot of people look back on fondly, and she can play that card, sort of inherit that mantle. And we'll see how it works. Now, the Democrats, right, there's going to be a power play in the Senate because we just talked about this, you know, how important the Senate was based on committee assignments and how the balance of power will be shared. If it's a 50-50 Senate, then it's sort of a split. You know, Republicans get a certain portion of the committee assignments and Democrats get the other half. But if it's a 50-50 with independents, and if Sinema's going to still be caucusing with the Democrats, then does that really change anything? But if Sinema gets booted out of there because the Democrats are scornful and angry with her, then how does that change her mindset, right? Does she continue to caucus with the Democrats if they're treating her like an outcast? Don't know. But it is spicy, and man, they are upset about it. You've seen all over social media, how could she do this? She was already a backstabber, but this betrayal is beyond belief. And I would be pretty upset too. I mean, right? If you had some Republican who everybody was like, gosh, all right, we don't really like this guy, but we'll squeeze him through. You know, it'd be like a Romney. You squeeze a Romney through in the Senate, and then he goes and caucuses as an independent. I mean, people actually, he kind of did do that. People were kind of very angry with him when he went and sort of reversed himself on Trump and supported the impeachment. People thought that that was a big betrayal. But A lot of claims that Sinema's bought and paid for, that she's been getting money from, millionaires and the billionaires and all of that stuff, and that this is just giving her more flexibility and freedom to align with them. And I just love this talking point. It's like, you're all bought and paid for. All of you. You all go groveling for the money. You all host your dinners. Right? You all play the game. But they just get to use it, however they can when it's convenient for them. So Sinema is pushed out of the party, and we'll see ultimately if that changes anything, right? A lot of this stuff is political sport. She just wants to do something to, ruffle things up a bit. It's working for sure, because the balance of power in the Senate's very close. That's all going to change next year. So we'll follow that one. But good for her. I support it. She should abandon them. They're nuts. Shout out to Kyrsten Sinema. I have a nice letter from her, actually. I think I've shared this before. When I was, how old was I? I was under 35, because I got an award in Arizona for being 35 under 35, one of those. And Kyrsten Sinema sent me a nice letter and said, congratulations. She was in the House of Representatives at the time. She said, congratulations. Arizona needs young entrepreneurs like you. Happy to support you and keep up the great work. One of those. Signed by Kyrsten Sinema. As a Democrat House representative. Look at this guy's stick. It's bigger than my selfie stick. It's an audio stick. This camera's better too. Yeah, a little better gear. Higher quality gear than your boys got. Shooting a commercial or something? But anyways, right? So Kyrsten Sinema, and I gotta hand it to her. I think she's a smart politician. I think that she's actually competent. And I know, that a lot of politicians do that and send letters and stuff. But I didn't get one from any Republicans. I didn't get one from any GOP people saying, great job, entrepreneur. None of that. I got one from Kyrsten Sinema, a Democrat, right? And so you start to ask yourself, man, are the Republicans so incompetent that they can't even do some of that basic voter outreach stuff? No wonder she's winning elections, because she's sending letters to people. That stuff matters. It's voters, right? It's voter outreach. Oh yeah, we got leaf blower guy over here. Perfect. So we'll see what she does. I think, from what I've heard about Kyrsten, that she is very, very energized. Sort of very disciplined, very outcome focused. Long-term play, long-term strategy, right? This is from the people who've met her and know her and all that stuff. So, not that I know, or not that they know. But the point is, it's curious, right? It's probably been a long-term strategy, wait for the time, and we'll see how it plays out. But fun, regardless. And we've got Lawnmower Guy, too. Shout out to Lawnmower Guy. So the other story, of course, yesterday at the end of the show was about the Twitter files, part 2, not 2.0. It was part 2. But pretty interesting drops. Now, again, we know that a lot of this was already happening. But it's confirmed that Twitter was literally censoring, blacklisting, suppressing people. They called it filtering, but they testified that they weren't doing this. They testified it wasn't political. They told America it wasn't shadow banning, because they didn't call it shadow banning. I mean, it was shadow banning, but they called it visual filtering or something. And they said, you don't have the right. They put some, language in their terms of service and all this stuff. But it turns out it's all, actually true. So you've got guys like Charlie Kirk, other COVID doctors, other people who are, high profile individuals. Libs of TikTok got blasted, right? All political thumbs on the scale and censorship. And so all very interesting. We'll go through it today. There's some screenshots of some back-end panels, like some admin panels, like what a Twitter user or what a Twitter mod or employee might see if they went to your account. What detail can they see? And we've seen stuff like this, but man, it's always very interesting to see, what they can glean from you at a dashboard level. And then you think about, really, that's only what they are showing publicly, right? Think all the data that they can get one layer down. Pretty amazing. But Barry Weiss drops this Twitter part 2, and we see clear evidence, black and white right there, that they are censoring conservatives, censoring Republicans. They told us this was all a conspiracy, it was all disproven, a total hoax, blah blah blah. We all knew on the receiving end that it was not true, right? Their claims were not true. The truth was they were censoring. And so it all got revealed. Now, as interesting as that is, there was a follow-up comment to Elon where he said, okay, so if you're suppressing, regular everyday accounts, what about politicians? What about Republicans who are running for office? Like, you're deboosting Charlie Kirk, okay, but he's not running for anything. You're deboosting or blacklisting libs of TikTok, okay, but they're not running for office. How about the people running? Did you get them too? Elon says, yes, they did. So presumably that means new candidates, right? Let's say somebody goes from just a regular Twitter user who's been suppressed into now a candidate, a political candidate. Like, you think of a guy like Joe Kent, maybe, who becomes a loud advocate and then runs for office, and then boom, that blacklist carries over and suppresses him relative to his opponents. So that's directly interfering with that election, at least as to Twitter, right? At least on that platform. And of course, that is a major hub. So if you're suppressed there, the domino effect that cascades throughout the rest of society. Okay. So that sounds like it's probably easy to, get confused about or something, but I'm sure it's intentional. But it goes seemingly beyond that. Apparently, well, we'll see. But what if it goes to actual candidates and their actual accounts now? Okay, so like, how you'll see people who have personal and professional profiles. And so what happens if, you go onto, an active representative's account and it's shadow banned? You're going, oh man. So, they were doing it all intentionally. I have no doubt about it. It's just going to be curious as to how you can connect the dots and who you can get involved in this. Because it's sort of like, we talked a little bit about this, it's like security by obscurity. If you're going to be a bad actor inside Twitter, you don't want formal official policies. You don't want things written down. But if you have like this bro code that exists and everybody just operates according to this standard that's sort of unspoken, it's harder to prove. It's obscure. And so all of the bad actors can maintain some security by obscurity. So, it's curious as to what the evidence is going to point to. How can we connect all the dots? We know it was happening. I mean, we were on the receiving end. Like every other platform we've been growing on, like literally every other platform except Twitter. And I know I'm not a great tweeter or anything like that, but ever since Elon took over, right, there's more activity, there's more impressions, there's more activity, and it feels like it's a whole different platform because there's not a whole bunch of people in there putting their thumbs on everything, which is very good news. But again, this is like something that we were told was a total conspiracy, a total hoax, not real at all. Twitter was not doing any of this. But then the truth comes out, and now they're saying, oh, well, it's obvious. It's in their terms of service. Here's a screenshot. Look what it looks like. It's right here. What are you guys freaking out about? And, well, the reality is we're freaking out about the censorship, the impacts, the cascading effect that this has. And we're looking forward to learning more, whatever that looks like. So Mary Weiss said that there was going to be a whole ton more coming out. They're just getting started. And so we'll look forward to see what else they have for us. But we'll be back normal time for the show, my friends, and we'll get into all of that and more. We'll see how the Friday shapes up for us. Usually Fridays are either one of two things. They're either very interesting, like for example, if there's a new drop that happens, if 3.0 drops or part 3 hits the fan, you know, that might be a newsy bit, and that's what happened last Friday. But other times they're just kind of dreary, dribbly days. But either way, we're going to cover it, and I hope to see you there. I hope you're making it a great day, getting outside, getting that blood moving, and I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.